And as Zoom has been a fabulous way to get to meet people that we would normally not meet so easily. No travel expenses, no airport check-in, no luggage to worry about. So it's certainly a lot easier way to do business at a distance. So that's really all I'm going to say, because we've got two hosts. I know we have a couple of videos. I'm going to pass over to Cynthia, not to Cynthia, to Candice, sorry, to say a few words from your side of the pond.
Okay. Thank you all for participating, and this is going to be the first of many of these. So for those of you that are not familiar with Coweta County, we are about 25 minutes south of Atlanta Hartsfield International Airport, and about pushing 150,000 on our population. We have 8 municipalities. Large manufacturing community, growing healthcare destination community. We're known for our innovation. So when you look on the education side, we have several models that we've created that have been replicated, career academies and the German apprenticeship model that have been taken statewide and as well as nationally in some instances. And so we have a great community. They work very well together. We discovered that the gentleman that's facilitating tomorrow's call is a big country music fan. And so for those of you that might be country music fans, Noonan is the home to Alan Jackson. His family lives here, if you've ever heard of that. But we are just looking forward to getting to know you. Val and Yvonne know how much I admire their community, specifically Brigadoon. If you've never seen that movie, I'm a big fan. But we have so much to share and so much to learn from. And one of the things we've been talking about, while this started out as an MOU between our two organizations, and we're going to take this statewide in the fall. We're bringing in the Atlanta Chamber and the Georgia Department of Economic Development to work with us, because when you look at the target industries for the Scottish Chamber Network, those are industries that pretty much the entire state can align with, but not specifically one community. So we are going to look to broaden the horizons and create opportunities for relationships in Coweta, but beyond the borders of Coweta as well across the state. And I'll turn it back over to, I guess, you, Val, right? Or to Scott or Lucy.
Yeah, and I don't know who's showing whose video first before we have, can I just check if y'all had, there's somebody's trying to come in, so a copy of the agenda and the running order, but it's very formal. We want some interaction and some chat, but we did ask Scott and Lucy really to lead on the session rather than it being chamber-led, because it is all about you. It's about the companies, what you want to get out of this connection at the moment, or what you would like to get out of the connection in the future. Because obviously for us it is, we had hoped to be coming out physically in October with a full trade mission to Georgia and potentially Atlanta. We're not sure whether that will happen, or we might do another virtual one this year and do a full-blown physical presence coming out the following year. But this is really a kind of getting to know you, is there interest, and as we move forward. Sadly, we haven't got a whole raft of businesses with us today, but we've certainly got lots of interest in your area and some of your key sectors, and it would be how we can then arrange one-to-one chats and kind of get-togethers. But I'm sure there's lots of things that we can do. We have already had a Burns Supper. I don't know if any of you were at that when we had that in January, and I'm quite sure there are other, perhaps we can have an American celebration that you will share with us over here. Who knows? The possibilities are absolutely endless. Or we could have a St Andrew's Day celebration, or obviously Tartan Week was cancelled, and yes, we've got lots to make up for. And we've just recently had a wine tasting, so we could do a Scotch whisky tasting online as well.
It sounds fabulous.
So, Scott, are you kicking off, or is it Lucy that's going first? Scott, is it you?
Yeah, that sounds fine. I know we sent over some videos about the companies, but we can just, if those aren't ready, we can just kind of talk through.
We
Just brief.
can play those, I think. Do you want to play those first, Yvonne? Do you want to play the videos?
What do you think?
Let's play the videos first, because
Susan,
we've got the Georgia video, and we've got, when are you going to play the Georgia video and the Ayrshire videos?
Okay, shall we do the Georgia video, Susan?
Sure, we can do that. Is there a preference as to which one? We Speak Business or Explore Georgia?
You could do them both. The Explore Georgia's 30 seconds. When you look at it, though, because I looked at it yesterday, everybody just remember to look in your lower left corner, or you won't know what you're looking at.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah,
We'll start with that one. We'll start with that one.
And then let's watch the Ayrshire video after the Georgia video, and then we'll go into the company videos.
Those are our Georgia videos. Thanks, Val. Will we go straight into Blickla, or did you want to share a Scotland video?
Let's do our Scotland video next.
Lucy, do you want to play the Alec Begg one? I think we should do the Alec Begg video. It does give some footage of Ayrshire scenery.
Lucy, will you answer a couple of questions? I, of course, have had the pleasure of being right where you are. And I would like for you to share with this American team where Alex Begg goods can be purchased worldwide. Mm-hmm. And will you just give them a sense of pricing?
Right. So, we manufacture everything in Scotland, and we basically are cashmere weavers, specializing in soft accessories with a very only natural fibers, expensive material, luxurious material. So today, the way our Bag & Co, we have two parts of the business. One part of the business is Alex Bag, where we actually produce for private label. What I mean by that, it's clients, fashion houses in France and Italy, all over the world that actually produce with us their collection. So the scarves you're gonna see in the autumn-winter collection in December is actually we producing and delivering just now. And we also, the other part of the business we have, it's actually Bag & Co. This is our own brand where we sell all over the world. Our main markets today, it's America, Asia, and Europe. And I mean America, North America, not South America. So we count heavily with the team specialized based in their countries, because we do believe that a person that it's easier for a salesperson to discuss with their peer in the same culture to sell it than actually if I'm trying to sell from Scotland. So we have people based in New York, in London, in Shanghai, and we have people in terms of Europe. Yeah, London is covering today all the European bases. But yeah, and in terms of pricing, we are not cheap. I would say like that. We are not expensive like Hermes, but we are mid price, around $300 a scarf. So hope this answers your questions. Okay.
All right. So shall we move on to the Blickla video?
Sounds good.
Okay.
And while we're setting that up, I'll tell you, when you come to visit Ayrshire, we'll take you to the shop who offer very generous discounts on their scarves. I have a fairly large collection.
We're looking forward to that.
Well, so we're going to introduce everybody. We're at a disadvantage, Lucy and I think.
We'll let everybody introduce themselves.
Yes, I think we'll do a round the screen,
Yeah.
if that's all right. So will we assume that everyone knows us, or is that being a bit vain to do that? But I'll start off with my screen and introduce you to Yvonne.
Hi there, and nice to see you all on the call today. I'm Yvonne Monroe, Ayrshire Chamber. and I've been lucky enough to be involved with the ITP2 project that the Scottish Chambers are running, and delighted that we've managed to get this event on the virtual platform, but very sad that I'm not actually visiting your beautiful county in person. But one day, hopefully, that will happen. So nice to see you all.
Candice, you're next
Yes.
on my screen.
Yes, so did you want me to reintroduce myself or just start with our
Yes.
people? Okay, so Candice Boothby, and I'm the president and CEO with the Noonan Coweta Chamber, starting my 18th year in this role. Native Texan, enjoy what I do. I always tell people I was born to do chamber work, and it's been a wonderful fit and career, and we have a terrific community and great group of people on the call today. So shall I just pass it to the next person on the screen?
Yes, please.
Jeff.
Got the mute off there. So my wife tells me I mumble and Candace tells me I talk really country. So I'll try to get somewhere in between there. Maybe everybody can understand me. So my name is Jeff Treadwell. I work for Buffalo Rock Company, which is the local Pepsi-Cola distributor here in Noonan. As the crow flies, probably about, what, Candace, 3 miles from you guys. We service 12 counties out of this location. We sell about 4 million cases a year out of here. This year, we're probably going to exceed that because with the virus, our business has been extremely well. As it's portions of our business, our fountain and cold drink business is suffering. We're down about 35% for the year. Our coffee business is down also about 35% for the year. And our vending is down about 30%. But good news is our take-home packages and our convenience store business is doing quite well for the month. We're up about 60,000 cases, which puts us up almost 180,000 cases for the year. So in that respect, we're having a very good year. A little more about myself. I've worked for Buffalo Rock I had an anniversary like a week and a half ago. So I've worked for Buffalo Rock here in Noonan for 35 years. So currently hold up, like I say, the plant manager's position, GM position. So it's good to be part of the community. It's good to know Candace. It's good to be a part of the chamber, and I'm just letting Candace lead me around and tell me what to do, where to be, and all those good things because she's a good leader. She does very well at that. So I just follow along and do what she tells me.
Well, everybody needs a good project, right?
That's right. That way she'll keep me out of trouble. So I appreciate everything, and it's good to meet you guys. And I'll jump back off and try to keep them shut. I'm bad to talk a lot too, by the way.
So Cynthia.
Hello, I'm Cynthia Bennett. I've had the great pleasure of spending time with Val and Yvonne. Wonderful afternoon driving around beautiful Ayr, Scotland, and enjoying some of the wine and food that you have there. I'm with the Chamber. My complete focus now has shifted just a little bit and is much more workforce and talent development oriented. I just completed a fellowship, as a matter of fact, last month. It was a year-long fellowship with our national organization. I was one of 24 chamber executives from around the nation, and we worked an entire year studying and sharing best practices and putting together programming for workforce development, getting on the same page, especially talking about talent development and how we can use all of our resources.
I guess we'll do Brandon next.
Good morning. My name is Brandon Lovett. I'm with Noonan Utilities. We are the local water, wastewater, and power provider for the city of Noonan. So we work very closely with Candace and her staff on a lot of different issues. Just a little bit about me, born and raised in Noonan. I've had the fortune of coming back here and been with Noonan Utilities for 23 years and have now raised a family here. So glad to be on the call.
Shall we just keep going, Val? Jonathan?
Yeah. I'm Jonathan from Ayrshire. It's my first time I've joined the call, so thank you for inviting me in Heiko's place. So I'm the plant manager for finance and administration for our Barony plant in East Ayrshire. Ayrshire make wood panel based products I've been with the company for 9 years, and yeah, we have 19
I'm
plants.
curious about the
Yeah, Jonathan,
Jonathan,
do you want to explain a wee bit more then of exactly what Egger do?
Yeah.
Yes, yeah. So we make in the UK, we make chipboard wood products, which we laminate. So a lot of kitchen products that are used in domestic properties. We also make building products, which are used in new build housing. Our other plants around the world make laminate flooring, which we don't make in the UK, but we import it and sell into the markets in the UK. Our plant in Scotland makes over 400,000 cubes of chipboard a year, and our plant in the UK makes 600,000 cubes. We now have Ayrshire as a company, have 19 plants worldwide, mainly in Europe, with a recent plant in Argentina, and we open a plant later this year in our first plant in America. So in Lexington, North Carolina, we have our first plant. So a family-owned business who, invest a lot of money, and it's.
Greg, I guess you'd be next.
All right. Good morning, everybody. Greg Wright. I'm Director of Community Economic Development with Coweta Fayette EMC. We're a not-for-profit, member-owned electric utility. We've got about 80,000 accounts serving Coweta County, Fayette County, which is right next door to Coweta, and then portions of 6 surrounding counties. We're the 43rd largest EMC in the United States. With 2 subsidiaries, one that markets natural gas, the other Relico Resources, which is a security company. Prior to this role, I have served as president of the Coweta County Development Authority for 8 years, and one of the great companies we were able to recruit to Coweta County was Blickla USA. So got to work very closely with Scott Chahalis, and just delighted to see he's on the call today. So just happy to be a part of this. Thank you.
And 18 years ago, I followed Greg at the chamber. And we don't look a day older than we were back then, do we, Greg?
Not a bit.
Who's up next? Stephanie?
Hello. I'm really badly lit here. I've just realised you've caught me in my bedroom office. I can't make it any lighter, even though my house is north facing. Sun's shining in, really black light to me. Sorry, apologies. So my name is Stephanie Craig. I work for the National Manufacturing Institute Scotland, one of their specialist technology centres called the Advanced Forming Research Centre, and we are part of the University of Strathclyde, which is one of the world's finest universities. The kind of purpose of what we do is to pursue innovation in industry around that manufacturing capability, sort of provoking that technology creation and technology acceleration. Any adaptation or adoption of new technology we tend to be a part of, and we're really just set up, as we're sort of government funded, we're set up to create impact in the manufacturing industry. So we don't hold sort of charitable status as such, but we are not for profit. We're basically we're set up to bridge the gap between the sort of research and academic side of things to general industry. So really, and you guys will be familiar with the the NASA's technology readiness levels. So we're sort of bridging that gap in that centre area there to take it into the actual final application. So I was saying to Yvonne there that the Georgia video said something around the collaborative nature, and that is 100% my language. That's collaboration is the key to success, in my opinion. So I'm really happy to be able to join today and look forward to pursuing opportunities in the future. Thank you.
Thanks, Stephanie.
I'll go ahead and say hello, and then we can go to whomever has called in. So I'm Susan Kraut. I'm the Vice President of Strategy and Operations with the Noonan Coweta Chamber. I've been with the Chamber about 2.5 years. I originally hail from Chicago, where ironically, basically, I'm speaking to you from now. I apologize for no video, but the sun has overtaken my screen, so not a bad problem to have. But for the Noonan Coweta Chamber, I'm very proud to do a little bit of this, a little bit of that, and a whole lot of other things. Kind of sticking my fingers in all the different pots that we have going on. And it is my pleasure to be a part of this. So good afternoon to everyone across the pond. And thank you for joining.
No.
Good afternoon.
So is that Larry?
It's Peter McCallum from Chemring Energetics.
Oh, Peter, apologise. We're looking for Stephanie and Larry. Cynthia's put in the chat. So, hi, good to see you. Obviously, we're just seeing your phone number, so we thought you were maybe a mystery guest. But hello, how are you?
I apologise, our Zoom wasn't working, so I tried for about 15 minutes, so I came through on the phone. So I thought that was at least to get through to the call. So apologies for that.
Thanks for joining at such short notice, Peter. Appreciate it.
So I'm Peter McCallum from Chemring Energetics, based in Stevenson in North Ayrshire. I've been with the company 3 years. I'm the operations director for the site. We make breaching and demolition systems. We make double base propellants for aircraft ejection systems. We make pyro mechanisms, which more for safety. So if you were on a 787, Boeing 787 plane and the oxygen mask comes down, that would be our actuator that would make that happen. So we are a very mixed site with over 500 different products, low volume manufacturing, not high volume manufacturing. RD has been around for about 120, 130 years. It was set up by Sir Alfred Nobel back in almost 1900. So the site's a very old site. There's a lot of history, but there's a lot of innovation also. So that's what makes it exciting.
I'll hand over to you, Scott. You'll all have had an agenda of some of the items we want to sort of chat about and share best practice. So we'll just start off with you, Scott, if that's all right.
Sure, that sounds great. Yeah, Lucy and I had a great conversation earlier in the week, and we thought I'd synopsize some of the points that we all agree on before we get into the agenda topics themselves. But, as we're sitting on various committees and with COVID and here in Coweta County, we've got what we call the Resiliency Committee, which is made up of a bunch of business members. And some of the key things that Lucy and I really agree on is the importance of just generally participation. People make the difference each and every time. And as we're able to, I don't want to use the word networking, but as we're able to share information with each other, all these various businesses, it's been very fruitful and helpful. There may not seem to be a lot of crossover with a manufacturing company versus a service company versus, all these different types of companies, but there's some really important shared knowledge there. So, usually the reward goes to those that participate and those that get involved. And we certainly have that. The value of sharing information really comes out to the forefront. In the beginning, how do we share this information? Where do we get PPE equipment? Who are the local trusted suppliers? What happens, if someone tests positive at COVID? What are the best practices to employ if in fact that happens? We've had a lot of companies go through events where we've learned from their experiences and hopefully built and improved upon. We've had people and companies here where people have gotten sick and maybe the communications wasn't quite perfect. So because the communication wasn't so good, maybe it ended up in a newspaper and the employees felt that they weren't being taken care of. So one of the big takeaways was the importance of transparency and the importance of being upfront and proactive in everything, particularly with bad information. Everything always comes to the light and to the surface, and it's always best to do it yourself and do it personally. Communications is so important, we agreed upon as well. Being able to communicate what the expectations are, not only to our employees, but then also to our vendors and suppliers and such is really, really critical. And it has to be done redundantly. And then leadership, we all have to lead by example, right? That's one of the key components and the simple components in life, but it's so important. And a lot of weekly calls up to and including, the management, the ownership of the company with all the employees, communication. Just by way of background, we at Blickla were deemed an essential supplier to the industry. So we've been operating from day one of COVID. We supply wheels and casters, let's say, to hospital beds, IV stands, ventilators for a while as well. But it's completely changed the complexion of our work. We will never be the same at Blickla, and I'm sure this is the case for all of you here. We've had, I think Greg mentioned about his customer service team working remotely. Fundamentally, we need no different for what's going on at Buffalo Rock. We need people to ship, assemble. So we need an operations team that had to be here day in, day out, and we had to protect them. But we also have our customer service team, our sales team, our marketing teams, the accounting team. There may not be a reason to be in here at work as much. So everyone's been working remotely as we tried to protect people, as well. So these are kind of some of the things that we learned, very, very quickly in the process. And what we thought we'd do is just go by the agenda now a little bit. And Lucy, some of the questions that came up, like on the agenda points, information and knowledge sharing on the COVID recovery plan. I don't know if you want to share some things, then we could open it up point by point to the whole team here.
Yeah, so the idea is really like to share a little bit what we passed, and perhaps I'd like to hear everybody else's experience. Is something else we could add to our business? So here in Alexbag, when the pandemic started, when it started to close, because our factory is not that big, so we have 150 people working for us, where the floor, I believe, is 110 people on the factory, which is a lot of people for not a big space. So we decided to close, and for those people that actually needed to continue working on, like myself, and others in the office and in general in the business, we start to think, what can we do during this time to refocus and rethink about our business model, and what can we do to improve? Because we knew that the impact of pandemic would be a huge financial impact on us. Also, for all the details, how you bring people back safely, and we've done quite a lot of research and thinking between ourselves, how can we make it better when people come back? So we got together, and one of the things, for example, as a COVID recovery plan, we thought in actually investing more in technology and marketing, because carrying forward, we thought that now more than ever, we actually need good platforms to interact with our clients and our buyers, because we're not anymore going to have meetings, and although investment is not exactly priority for any of the companies now, we just thought that this was the key to move forward. So yeah, in our experience, we thought investing in technology was the way to go. What about you guys? What have you guys done?
Lucy, if I could mention in here too, because it's something we talked about, is when we sent all our employees to work remotely, some of them couldn't even get a good internet connection. So it really stresses from, the importance of 5G and technology. As people work remotely all over the world for these jobs, they can't do it if they can't communicate. So it's so important that the investment is made with technology so that people can, in fact, communicate. And we used to have meetings, as we talked about, every day. Customers would fly into Atlanta. They'd come and visit our customer experience center. We would test product. Well, all those meetings are gone now. There's no traveling. There's no visits face to face. So what we've had to do is have virtual meetings like this. And literally, we probably do them once or twice a day now. And I don't think that's ever going to change in terms of how we do business. Certainly, some of them are suboptimal in the sense that it's always better face to face. But I think we've also realized that there's a lot that can be done in a virtual world. but we need the tools to be able to do that with the infrastructure. And then we also need to have, people to be able to, here especially, we're having a hard time finding labor right now. Believe it or not, the unemployment rate is through the roof in the US, but we can't find people who want to come back to work necessarily. Now, part of that is with the policies in terms of the compensation. In some cases, it's more profitable to stay home than it is to come to work. And that's a real dilemma, not to mention schools. A lot of our folks are, particularly in operations, are single family folks in some cases, and they have a hard time trying to figure out, what do you do when the schools aren't open, for your children? How do you get back to work? So all of these things kind of are conspiring. I don't know if you guys are seeing any of that as well.
Yeah, personally, we have similar problems to what you talk about with home working, and we see the benefits, but also we also identify there's possibly some disadvantages in the future, because for all standalone positions you can homework, but there's obviously the other side of things with training and development. People can quickly feel left alone and not developed. They're not going to learn off anybody else. They're sitting at home. And there's also the mental health side of things with people sitting at home alone for long periods. It's just something to consider as a business, because teamwork can't be undervalued. I think for all we know, we can do a lot of things at home. It's just something that we've started to consider and make it clear for our employees that we have a safe working environment in the office if anybody felt the desire that they would like to come in. For all the government guidance is work at home if you can. We want to make it clear that if people feel uncomfortable working at home or could do a better job at work, we have a safe environment for them to return to. So I think that's important as well.
Yeah, we've offered a hybrid solution. So for example, some of our home workers, we rotate them in and out every week. So it's kind of like the best of both worlds, so we don't lose that connection. And a lot of our folks, I'm sure if you guys are experiencing this as well, they want to be in the office. They want the camaraderie of having a cup of coffee with coworkers and such. So what we've done is kind of rotate people in and out to be able to solve both opportunities.
Yeah.
Does anybody else find a different way? Like, are we being all flexible in terms of coming back to work?
We currently, for all our indirect staff here at Chemring Energetics, are all working from home. We've stuck to the Scottish Government guidelines, so and only call people in if we have to. Our production staff have been here all the way through. What we did, we reduced the working week by half a day, so we did a 3.5-day week, reduced the working hours. That was more because the flexibility, people get working at home, notwithstanding the things that have been mentioned with not getting the camaraderie working with people, but our shop floor people felt they had an advantage. They didn't see the other issues, so we reduced the working week, and we've only started back normal work pattern in the last 2 weeks.
Does anybody else want to make a comment? Or should we move to the second question, perhaps?
I think maybe move on, Lucy.
Yeah, go ahead,
Yep.
Scott, if you want.
Yeah, I mean, how to gain the new customer confidence. We found we've been kind of inundated. Very, very similar to what I've heard on this phone call. We've been swamped. And part of the reason why we've been swamped is because a lot of our competitors in the marketplace have kind of either been, let's say, potentially shut down. There are certain states within the United States that have different rules. And in some cases, they're unable to work. California, great case in point, New York State, et cetera. So it's created opportunities, but people have a sense of urgency. They want the answer right away. And if you can't provide them the answer, even though they, on one level, understand we're all going through a pandemic, they understand it on one level, but they're still customers. And they demand a response immediately. And much like in the days pre-pandemic, whoever responds quickly with a valid answer and is available and doesn't make excuses those companies I think are prospering in today's environment. So the sense of urgency is what we found is when we talk through the pandemic with some of our, customers, colleagues, potential customers, we commiserate a little bit, but at the end of the day, they want to make sure their order's there on Tuesday. And
Yeah,
if
I
it's
think
not, they're out.
yeah, similar from our side, we were quite active we brought our sales team back off the furlough scheme quite early, and they were in the market, which our competitors didn't. So it was quite good that our sales team were active. We won a lot of new business that in the past we wouldn't have even probably considered or looked at, but I think it was definitely a good move. It would have been easy to sit and take the furlough government money for a longer period, but it was, you could say, a brave decision to take the sales team all off furlough and into the market, but it definitely proved worthwhile because our competitors weren't so active, and it was a good opportunity.
Yeah, the furloughs in the US are a big issue because a lot of companies who are thinking short term and not, let's say, family owned strategic companies, they went ahead and reduced the number of headcount very quickly in order to keep their earnings up. But like most things in life, you could have a short-term benefit from doing that, but long-term, it could literally destroy your business and your brand. So it's that weighing of the costs and the benefits, I guess. But we're seeing that same here. Many of our competitors, particularly those owned by financial organizations and private equity, things like that, they immediately furloughed people. And that has really, it is going to poison their brand long-term, in my opinion.
Well, it's funny because, I know I'm a completely different kind of a market because fashion market is completely different. And our approach was literally different from our competitors because all the competitors during this time, what they done is basically mail all the clients and say, here's some sales, let's buy, for half price and 50%, 80% of the price, and just constantly mailing people to buy. Obviously, this is a time of crisis where a lot of people are going to lose probably their jobs, or it is a difficult time. So I think our approach was completely different. Instead of that, we actually stopped completely the sales. We decided that we wouldn't sell anything during the pandemic and the lockdown. And actually we create, I don't know if you guys heard about it, it's our comfort blanket. It basically was a tool that you can find on our website and our social media to interact with our clients and buyers to just discuss anything else apart our products. So just to give a sense of community, to trying to, humanize the brand instead of just trying to profit for something. So it wasn't anything related to sales, but it does create a good aspect on the brand that it gave some kind of a customer confidence, not just about the product, but it's also about our clients itself and the difficult time. So that was our approach. Does anybody have anything like similar, maybe?
Lucy, did you call that a comfort blanket?
Yeah, it was our comfort blanket. Sorry about the English. English is not my first language. So if you guys don't understand, let me know.
No, I heard you. I was just trying to picture what a comfort blanket looks like. So is it extra soft? But you said it's to start to kind of stimulate.
Yeah, it's in a social media, and a lot of people are using as well to share their own content. So
okay.
Photographers are coming to share, oh, look at this beautiful photo I took from an island, or our clients are coming to share nice book they read and our feedback about it's everything else that is not related to our products, but to talk about well-being and meditation and books and movies, whatever, but not related to sales. So I thought it was a good approach in terms to bring the community together. So yeah, a little bit different for the competition.
So it's a concept that then you take it and use it really for a mental health strategy.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. That was the goal.
It's a great idea. We're going to steal it.
I think Jonathan,
good action is always good.
Yeah, Jonathan, I think again, Edgar, you've introduced quite a lot of mental health policies. There's online counselling and telephone counselling for your staff.
Yep. So that it's. I mean, they have been available, but again, we've pushed it. They were available pre-COVID as well, but obviously we've made it clear to employees that these facilities are available to support them. So yeah, it's something that EGA has always offered its employees this support, but it's just communicating that again to the employees, which is difficult out with them all being at home working, but just again, and I think we do it as team leaders and plant management teams. We try and send out, again, it's not so business related, but just an email to the people at home to a weekly catch up sort of thing where it is important to stay in touch with people and make them feel part of the business still, give them an update on everything that's happening in the business, even if it's not really related to their role, just what's happening. So that communication's been very important.
So that was a piece of advice, and Scott, you know what I'm getting ready to refer to. Last week, our hospital CEO sent an email. He couldn't attend Scott's resiliency meeting, and I just pulled it up, but the first piece of advice he wanted us to share with people was to watch your employees for environmental stress, and that's exactly what you're talking about. And I don't know that as a community with our recovery task force that we've really focused very much on the whole mental health issue. I know, Scott, your group has touched on it, but Susan, I don't know, I don't think any of our other committees have. Do you recall what your group discussed, Scott?
Yeah, I mean, we had, and of course, Candace is referring to Mike Robertson. He's the CEO over at Piedmont Hospital, which is our large hospital here, our major hospital in Coweta County. And, of course, everyone hears about COVID, but what they don't hear about is all the mental health issues, everything relating to abuses at home, child abuse, drug, alcohol abuse. All of these things are accelerating a great deal. And there's a number of mental health issues that are, in some ways, I know it's hard to quantify sometimes, and I know in today's environment, it's really hard to get good numbers. But at the end of the day, these things are weighing very heavily. And I couldn't agree more with Jonathan. One of the key ways that that we're trying to do it here is by communication. We have weekly meetings with all the company video, and we talk through a lot of these issues and the challenges that we're facing as a business. The more people are involved, the less isolated they are. But at the end of the day, it's a big challenge for those people that can't come into work or for health reasons, or are concerned and worried, or for that matter, has lost their job or on furlough. Our hospitals are starting to get filled up with that, right now. And it's kind of an unspoken issue, at least here in the US, because people will say if they have a heart attack, but they won't say they're depressed or suicidal or struggling with addiction.
Greg, have y'all dealt with that much with Coweta Fayette EMC? Have you had any conversations around the mental health issue?
They've done some, public service announcement things through our intranet within the company. One thing that I know our CEO did a couple of times during the pandemic was recorded videos, because our line crews, they were here on a adjusted schedule, but everybody else, all the office folks, were at home. So he recorded some videos just giving updates on where we were as a company. How we're dealing with the pandemic, and I think that went over very well with folks, because they could still see, he was in charge, he was providing guidance and providing good information to the employees. But yeah, Scott's absolutely right. I mean, those are issues that any company needs to be focused on, and certainly make sure that the employee is well taken care of. We've got an employee assistance program here. If someone needs help, that they've got access to free services to help them, through that challenge.
So Brandon had to leave a little bit early, but yesterday I learned something they were doing at Noonan Utilities that I thought was interesting, and it ties into something our hospital CEO said last week. And Scott, I did get clarity on that one point that we weren't sure about. But the advice was from the hospital CEO that then I'm going to tell you the story about Noonan Utilities was focus on your core and don't worry about the stuff that's not related to the core. So like in his case, it was they don't do their senior management meetings. They're not doing trainings. They're not doing anything that's not directly related to COVID, because what he's found is it just causes undue stress for the other employees. So what I thought was interesting was Noonan Utilities, Greg, when you mentioned the videos, so their general manager has put some videos out to their employees, and his message was, all those things that you thought that you were going to accomplish in 2020, forget about it. Don't worry about it. Don't let it stress you out. Take it off your plate. Put it on next year's workload when it's appropriate. And we're just going to focus on customer service. And that was their primary messages. And I think from what I had, feedback I got was that was just a huge stress reliever for employees, because they didn't have to feel the sense of urgency that they weren't getting things done that you would normally be focused on this time of year. I know like our board chair, who is recently retired CFO from Yamaha, when I asked him this week, we're preparing for our board meeting in a couple of weeks, and normally we would do financials where you would, do year to year, comparisons and things of that nature. And he said his advice to a lot of his, because he does consulting now, is don't do your usual financial reporting. It doesn't mean anything. Don't do your year to year. Don't do your quarter to quarter. Don't do any of that. He says, because you can't. There's no baseline. And I think from what he was saying, that was eliminating some of the mental stress that a lot of people were having with trying to deliver and produce in an environment like they've always done, but in an environment that's not conducive to that. So it's little tidbits like that. I think that we're learning that for us through Scott's committee, we can probably start to craft some tip sheets or solutions or, ideas, samples to share. Because I think every little piece you can do to eliminate some layer of stress helps.
You've stunned us into silence.
I know.
That's on the agenda. I know, and and that's really good advice. I've actually got a board strategy committee, and that's why I disappeared there, because my vice president phoned me to check that everything was ready for it. I think that's an interesting concept. We've tried to. Obviously in the UK we've got the NHS and most things are free, but we do have a chamber health plan for members can take out, and all our staff have covered. So again, we're urging them to, if they need counselling or anything, it's all there and it's free, or they can go and have, now that they're opened again, go and have a stress massage and all this sort of thing as well. So that is, but that's an interesting point about that. Forget about the quarterly accounts and things. I'm not sure if my board is quite as open as that, to be honest, but I'll give it a try tomorrow. I'll quote you, perhaps. So what else do you feel we want to cover now on the agenda, Lucy and Scott?
Lucy, do you want to take the next question about staff confidence?
So the next question would be how to gain staff confidence.
As I think about this, and we talked about all of us on the call. We all of us have many things to do, I'm sure today, but we made it a point to be here on this call, and that's what leadership's all about, right? So the way we try to have our staff have confidence, it's kind of what Greg said with his leader over there at Coweta Fayetteville, EMC. You've got to lead from the front. You can't tell people coming to work everything's okay, and if you're not the first one there or the last one to leave. So I think the way that the staff gains confidence is through the leadership, and everyone on this call is a leader. And the way we react. And the way we act, and not just saying things, but doing things as an example, that will inspire the confidence or not. and being available and accessible to talk about things with employees, you know, who are here or working remotely, picking up the phone and calling them. You know, to me, that's how they get confidence that we're going to get through this or anything. And it's our responsibility on this call that we do that.
Scott,
one of the,
thing I noticed, you know, one thing I noticed a lot during the pandemic when we were working from home is there were a lot more phone calls back and forth as opposed to email. And I think it was people just needing that personal connection, you know, rather than just, you know, sending off a text, sending off an email. It was you know, welcome to get those phone calls of people, you know, wanting to talk and talk through issues. So we certainly appreciated that.
Yeah, I think one thing we did with regards to confidence for employees was obviously the employees being at home. We tried to send pictures, videos. I think somebody mentioned it earlier of the kind of safety features we were adding in the factory to make the environment safe. So the floor markings of the new divisions at the desks, all the things that were being done on site, making sure that everybody at home knew there was actions being taken. So when they were required to return to work, they were returning to a safe environment.
Mm.
Yeah,
And I think we've been doing sort of, yeah, there's all the, I mean, and we've got like WhatsApp groups, we've got Teams groups, we've got Zoom groups that we're, so, and again, not just with staff, but with members, where we're trying to incorporate some team, you know, fun things as well. So we've had quizzes that everybody's been doing and bits and pieces and sharing movies that we've watched on Netflix or books that we've read. And I'll quickly change my background. We had, there we go, Yvonne and I set up a pub and we had a drinks tasting session. So yeah, so it's trying to introduce some fun things as well, because everything has been sort of heavy and dark and worrying about everything. So I think it's to keep that, and as you say, very much kind of leading from the front, because we started up a WhatsApp group and I go on every morning and say good morning, and then I wait to see how many other people, and then I thought, God, I don't really feel it being first on, but I'll be the first on and I'll say good morning. And I mean, and not everybody participates, but in the main everybody comes on, and if I'm not there doing it, somebody at one of the other team comes on. And I think that at the beginning I had one or two staff were struggling a wee bit, and I thought, well, even if it's only a text, you know, a WhatsApp message saying good morning, how are you, did you have a good weekend, it's still some sort of human contact until we start we have what we call a chuddle on a Tuesday morning, where when we're in the office it's all about numbers and who's doing what or who needs support with something. So we've kept that going online, as is in our monthly team meeting as well. But I think there needs to be a wee bit of fun and light-heartedness in there as well. So we're sharing jokes and funny videos and all that sort of thing too.
Al's made up some really good quizzes over the last 4 months. And we've had wear a hat to the meeting to create a bit of fun and laughter. So yeah, there's been some good stuff. All helps.
Do you feel like you're reaching the saturation point with Zoom or whatever platform people are using? Have you gotten feedback on that?
Yeah, I think we are, and we've spent a lot of time recently researching other platforms that are maybe a wee bit more interactive, and we're planning to have, we normally have a big annual business week where part of that is a B2B exhibition with workshops. You know, everybody does them, but it's hard to get that same sort of feel even just with breakout rooms on Zoom. So we have found a company that's offered a very cost-effective solution. So they'll, you know, we will start the day, there'll be a networking session, there'll be, businesses can take a stand that can be interactive, you can view their brochures and things if you go to their stand, they can chat to each other on the stand, there's breakout workshops and things like that. So we're going to give that a try to see, and from more from your point of view, Candice, that can be monetised. You know, we're hoping we will still sell stand space, which we would do if we'd been doing it physically, which we've done very successfully now for, this must be year 10 or 11 or maybe even 12. So yeah, I think it's just to introduce something, you know, beyond just the screen of everybody, and you get the kind of feel that you are actually in, walking into an exhibition space or then different breakout rooms. So we're hoping to try something like that. But I think definitely, I mean, in the early days, we were getting easily 40, 50 people coming on. We were doing a kind of coffee and chat, and, you know, then we were doing training sessions and things, but the numbers have definitely sort of dwindled away. And then every business organisation is doing Zoom sessions on something. So there is a lot of competition out there, and it's how can you then generate what was, I don't know what you do for events, but events and training courses are a huge part of our chamber's income. So obviously that has disappeared since we went into shutdown. Our last live event was 3rd of March, I'm going to say, Yvonne, was it 3rd of March, the dinner?
6th of March,
The 6th of March, we had about 500 people at a black tie dinner. That was our last big event, so we're desperately trying to see when we can have another live one. So we've got at Turnberry, we're doing a 9 and dine, which is a 9, just playing 9 holes at the golf course, and then they have it, we're saying dine, but it's actually lunch. We're having a net walking event where we're all outside and walk and chat, and hopefully people will feel a wee bit safer, but I think it'll be some time before we have 500 or 600 people in a room.
Lovely.
So I have 2 questions, and I need to say the 2 questions or I'll forget them, and then you guys can respond. One would be for Stephanie. Would there be value, because you have an education focus, in scheduling a call with just like our colleges and technical college and school system to share? And the other one is, this might be a Jonathan and a Scott and a Jeff question, is moving forward, what are some topics that you would like to discuss with people in your similar positions in manufacturers or distributors that you're struggling with, or that you would like to maybe match up employee types, like your safety people or your finance people? Or, I mean, I think that would be helpful for Val and Yvonne and Susan and I moving forward, to hear that feedback from you guys.
I'll just jump in quickly. Yes, it would be really beneficial to be put in touch with, you know, the sort of educational establishments. One of the strong focuses of the National Manufacturing Institute is the Skills Academy. We should say, obviously, it has been a slight delay in the build, obviously because of the pandemic. The construction work has stopped, but the Skills Academy is going to be a huge focus for the institute, and bringing the skills of primarily the Scottish supply chain up. But what we're actively looking for is that sort of inward collaboration from international companies, where we can kind of bring in the best practice for education, you know, delivery methods and courses. Also just the general collaborative effort of building courses that are actually going to provide value and provide, you know, hardworking members of society. So actually sort of building the new generation of courses around different, you know, manufacturing subject areas, whatever they may be. But the keen subject matter for me is the collaboration opportunities. We in Scotland, we have a very, very strong supply chain in, you know, kind of textiles and food and drink. Manufacturing, we have a strong presence for sort of precision machining. However, the supply chain could still be stronger, and the whole purpose of the National Manufacturing Institute is to grow that supply chain and bring those, socio-economic benefits to Scotland. And we can only do that with strong strategic partnerships. And from my point of view, me personally, I'm not looking for that kind of one-off relationship where we do one thing and then it goes away. I'm more looking for the longevity and the mutually beneficial impact that we would have with each other. So I'm definitely keen to speak to any company, any establishment, or that you guys think would that we could both benefit from it. It's not a one-way street when it comes to education, and it's not a one-way street when it comes to research and development either. It's wholeheartedly a joint effort. So I'm happy to speak to whoever you think would be relevant. Certainly.
Great answer. And Val, I think that's something we could definitely work on and put together.
Yeah, and even going, I mean, obviously, Stephanie's talking about the National Manufacturing Institute and obviously the close links with the university, but again, in Scotland, we have something called Developing the Young Workforce, and it's joining employers in education, and not just, it's a bit more than careers talks and all that sort of thing. It really is letting employers in and influence the curriculum that's taught in the schools. Now, in most areas across Scotland, it is the Chamber of Commerce that leads that. So actually half of my team within the Chamber are all employed in education, 3 of them with local authorities who look at work experience. We place 4,500 young people into work experience placements every year. And again, get employers to go in and meet with teachers, and again, influence the curriculum and really add relevance to the curriculum. Like, why am I learning how to do this? I'll never use it ever again, but explaining how, well, actually in my line of business, this is what you would do. But it goes beyond that careers talk. So really I'm not familiar with, whether you have junior school or middle school, but say from age, ours start school at 5. So from 5 to 18 years old, we're involved in some shape or form with every single school in our area, which I think is, I'm going to say something like 24 secondary schools and about 50 odd junior primary schools. So education is something that as a chamber we've been involved in now for about 15 years, so we have gained quite a bit. Now, am I right in saying, if I remember rightly, you guys had one of the first sort of, was it a commercial academy it's called, that was, is it, the first vocational type school? No, was that in Noonan? No?
Well, we have a career academy that's focused on a variety of curriculum areas. I can send you some information. I know we're running short on time. I've been watching Scott say. I'm going to send you a couple of things, Val, and if you could send me some of your information as well, then we can get back together on that and kind of brainstorm. Scott, do we have time to answer that other question, or do we want to do that next time, or just have everybody toss that one thing and we'll capture that?
Candace.
Yes.
I want to add something real quick, and I know we're short on time, but there again, I will put this out there just as a statement from me. But you ask what needs to be discussed. There is going to have to be a major discussion about why is it a crime to work these days? I mean, we cannot progress forward. We have a major growth opportunity within our industry, but the fear of the owner of our company is he commits to that growth and the labor is not available. There's 25 million people out of work in the United States today, and to Scott's point earlier, nobody wants to work. So I understand stimulus money, I understand that. But beyond that, there is gonna have to be a conversation as to why do you not want to work? And what does it take you to go to work? I mean, the average millennial today, I read an article, only keeps a job within a specific job 18 months. Okay, look at that group of people. All right, I'm sitting here trying to run a business here in town, and I'm struggling every day to get help, and there's available help, but there's almost a stigma attached to it that you're working. Why are you working? You don't have to work. There's all these programs available where you don't have to work. And I get higher education, but not everybody needs positions of higher education. I get that. But we are struggling just to be able to get help to get basic jobs covered, you might say. So somewhere, whether it's through the county or whether it's through whatever means, somehow we're going to have to get back to the mindset that it's not a crime to hold a job, and it's not a crime to work hard. And not everybody can be the president of the company, or not everybody can be the general manager, but it's just extremely tough in any environment to get people to work today. And there's got to be a discussion about that. And how do we get past that? Does it start in high schools? Is everybody taught go get a college degree and go out and get a job making $100,000 a year? Well, there's a lot of positions less than that we're trying to fill every day, and we just can't get them filled. So, just there's got to be a conversation of how we get past that in order for these companies to continue to grow and prosper, such as ourselves. So, don't really know what that conversation necessarily looks like, how it feels, but it's going to have to be had. So
a great question. And Val, again, when we do our follow-up call, maybe we can explore that just a little bit, see what that looks like. Jonathan or Scott, did y'all have a question or topic you wanted to add to that list?
I don't currently. It's okay if I have a think about it and come back, as everything seems so fast moving that we're reacting more to everything at the moment than looking forward. But obviously for ourselves, we have Brexit just around the corner, so COVID seems to have taken over every discussion, but there's the important topic for us locally of the Brexit trade deal at the end of the year, which is very important for the UK. And
I'll avoid saying trade tariffs, but some of you will know what I mean.
I've been reading about that, okay.
Well, Candace, we're a German-based company at Blickle, of course, and maybe just the German apprentice program, just to make a pitch for that, because Jeff, to your point, a lot of people who graduate high school don't necessarily want to go on to college, and they want to trade. Maybe they're technically minded. So almost a third of the employees at Blickle, and they employ about 1,000 people with over 1 million square feet in Germany, are graduates of the apprentice program in Germany, just to give you some idea. And these are people that, fundamentally here in the US, when you go through the program in high school, and it's very selective, you graduate with your high school degree, you get a 2-year college degree upon your high school graduation, and you get a German apprentice certificate that you can take globally, worldwide, as a skill set. And I guarantee you that the income, that if you graduate that as a 18-year-old high school student here in Coweta County, you're going to make more than what a 4-year college person is going to be making here in Coweta County, because we need technically minded people who really, shouldn't have to feel compelled to go on to college if they have a different avenue or choice. So I think that's something really to flesh out a little bit more. Plumbers, electricians, CNC operators, machinists, it works. And the other comment I'll make to Jeff's point a little bit too, is we have a subsidiary company we own in China. I've been going there for 30 years. We have subsidiaries all over the world. I can tell you China's been back on track since April 1st. They do not have any hiccups right now in terms of their supply, manufacturing, and business. They are full out, 100%. And in Germany, they've missed 0 days of operations, just in terms of benchmarking, what we're up against. It's a global marketplace. Our competition isn't down in Atlanta or Nashville or New York. Our competition is in Guangzhou, Delhi, and you name it. And that's not going to change.
Yeah. I mean, and certainly, I mean, the UK model, well, Scotland, I can speak for, has got a fairly robust modern apprenticeship, but the Germany model is definitely way out there as best practice because we've studied it and looked at it, and yeah, it's and do you not have like apprenticeship programs of similar in the
We
US?
do. We do. In Coweta
Still.
County, we have a number of, it's just really beginning. And I mean, the team here has been really instrumental. A lot of the people that aren't on this phone call started it up. And we participated at BLICLA. We have a number of companies in Coweta County that also participate in it. And it's a home run. It's a great thing for these young people because it teaches them what the work environment really is.
Yeah.
Because they go to school part-time, but they also come into a workplace. And the realization, you know, of what life's like, it really hits home. You know, and I'm just a big believer in it because there's a lot of folks out there that, at least that I know, and I've got a bunch of children, not all of them, you know, necessarily wanted to go to college, but they all did because that's what they're supposed to do. But you know, there's a lot of options other than that where you can earn literally more with a trade or a skill. And in high school, people want to do that. Matter of fact, we just hired someone, Candace, this week, a young man who graduated high school and said, you know what, Dad wants me to go to college, but I have no interest. You know, it's not my thing. I want to learn machining. We're like, okay, we'll teach you machining.
Well, and there's a large percentage that don't need to go to college that do want to just, I heard an interesting program. I sit on the panel I chair the National Chamber of the Year committee for our national association, and we did interviews 2 weeks ago, and there was a program in a community, I think it was Ocala, Florida, called Find Your E, and the E was education, enlistment, or whatever it could translate it into going to work. And it was, these were your three choices, and there's, you know, to find your fit. And I thought, well, that's interesting. We should boil it down more and say, there's three things you can do and you choose which one, and they're all three equally as good as each other. And, you know, and there's.
Yeah, I think, Candace, that was education, enlistment, or employment.
Yes, that was it. Mm-hmm. And I apologize. I'm going to have to leave. I have a meeting I have to get to.
Okay. So again, kind of quickly, another thing that we have, and it's just about to launch next week, we do an annual, and it's called No Wrong Path. And we ask people of all levels, all educate, you know, that there's no wrong path to get to your career. It could be leaving school at 15 or 16 or college or university, or so I think the First Minister's taking part in it next week as well. So it is a big, massive campaign to this, that there is no wrong path to get to your final goal.
We can't wait to see that too. Did you make your list of all the stuff you're going to share with us?
Yes, I'm writing it down, and I've written down Find Your Fit as well. I'd be interested in.
So I have to leave. I just wanted to say thank you to everybody, and this is the first of many more, right, Val?
It is, yes. And I'll apologise now in advance that I can't make tomorrow's session because I have my board strategy afternoon.
Good luck.
I would rather be with you, I have to say,
yes.
But that's just between us.
Yes. And Yvonne, you're going to send us the Zoom call for tomorrow, right?
I will, so, yeah. And it'll be nice.
We'll let everybody know how that goes as well. This has been delightful. Scott, Lucy,
Pleasure.
You guys are fabulous. The rest of you, you're fabulous as well.
Obrigado, Lucy.
Obrigada.
Okay. We'll see you later.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Candice.
Thanks. Bye. Take care. Good luck with your board meeting, Dal.
Thank you. So we are now over time, and I do appreciate everybody's really busy. So bye. Take care, everyone, and I'll see you soon, hopefully.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you very much for the invite. Thank you.